So I've come out into the garden then, and I'm going to go through some of the things that we can use as tinders for fires, and some things we can make up, some things that are easier to light than others. So, but first off, I'm going to start off with this. This is a handy little tin I've got. Obviously, if you're going to make a fire on in the woods or outside, you know, sometimes you might be in the summer. There's a lot of tinder about. You don't want to go making fires on the ground. You can set fire to the moss and set fire to the ground that will just smoulder underneath for weeks and sometimes months before it ignites, causing forest fires. As we've seen last year in the Peak District and around the country, there were so many different fires from people being careless, really. So what I've got here is a fire bowl, nice little, not much, about £19, and that just opens up like that. Stick your fire in there, it's off the ground, it can be contained in here, nice and small. You can get yourself a little grill that sits on top. So here's the type of grill that you can get. These are not much either. I think this one was about £8, and that can just stand over there. You can get your cooking pot. Obviously this is just my cook, but cooking pot goes on there, and bingo. Safe, off the ground. Keep it nice and, you know, nice and low fire. It'll get hot in there, but you don't have to have a big fire that's spilling over the sides. And yeah, perfect if you want something a little bit bigger. That just packs away easy as that. If you want something a little bit bigger, there's a larger size one there. So that's just a little bit of fire safety for when you're outdoors. My recommendation is always carry one of these. I mean, they fold up nice and small. If you're in your van, they're so easy to pack away. Put in the van somewhere, and if you're backpacking, hiking, they go in your backpack, no problem. And you can get your fire starting kit when you've made it up. You can put that in there, you can fold that up. Obviously this one's a little bit big. If I'm going hiking, then I'll have a wristband with a ferro rod on it, and I'll have my tin, and in there is all my fire making kit, and that's all I'll need. So with that one bowl, you've got your place to have your fire. You've got a bit of tinder in the strap there. You've got a fire starter on there with your small ferro rod. And also whatever you keep in your tin. I mean, I'll show you briefly what I've got in there. I've got some little bits and bobs I've cut up for as tinder, and they'll spark off a ferro rod, no problem. So the idea of today is to sort of give you some idea of what sort of things you can keep in your tin, or you can buy a tin off the website and I'll make them up and show you what they are. So let's start from easiest to hardest then. First off then, we're going to go some different types of tinders for fire starting. Obviously, number one, gas canister. Get yourself one of these. This is a little stove top, £9.99 off Amazon. Let's just undo that. Fix that on, give it a turn, pull out these little out there, pull out that and that, twist it round, turn it on. What's that? Took us 10 seconds, we've got some fire. So probably best to invest in one of those. Keep that in your van. If your main source of fire goes out, your main source of gas, you've got that. If you're camping, you can carry that along in your bag. That'll fit in the centre of there. Find a place to fit on the outside of your bag, just hanging down as you walk in. Perfect. Obviously, that's the easiest way to start a fire without having your main source of fire. So that's number one then. Let's put that over there because I'm going to use that in a minute. So number two, a lighter. Simple, isn't it? click that, less than a second, you've got fire. Third up, good old matches. Less than a second, you got yourself a fire. Next up, the ferro rod, scraper, and with the right tinder, couple of seconds, you've got fire. So you've got there a lighter, a ferro rod, and matches. 3 sources. Keep them somewhere in a nice little plastic bag. Keep them safe. Keep them topped up. You've always got a way of making fire. So now we've got a way of igniting fire. What are we going to ignite? So first up then, cotton wool. These come in little balls, obviously. You get them on the end of Q-tips, ladies' sanitary towels, makeup pads they used to remove from the faces. So cotton wool, that is one of the easiest tinders that will light, and we'll go through these in a bit. Next up, simple, all it is really thinly scraped wood, wrapped in wax and paraffin, soaked in paraffin and wrapped in wax, and they'll ignite almost immediately, which we'll go through in a second. Different version of cotton wool. Obviously the pads we're talking about, makeup pads, you can find them in the van, take them with, put them in your fire tin if you're hiking. Perfect source of tinder. Next up after that, paper, obviously paper's everywhere. Cardboard, some little cardboard strips, and the reason I'm saying cardboard, not paper, cardboard burns longer than paper, gives you a little bit longer to be able to get a fire going when you've got some sticks, bits of wood. Remember we were talking about fire starters. The cotton wool there, cotton pads, something that most hikers carry with them all the time, and that's paracord. Now some of these paracords actually come designed inside through the middle is a string of waxed string that goes all the way through. You can undo the ends of it. That's surrounded by this nylon strings. If we take them out, bunch them up, they will light as fast as anything, as fast as a cotton wool. The only thing to be careful with this, it does melt. So when you've taken it out, made a little pile, just remember, when you are lighting that it can drip. And again, I'll show you that in a little while. So there's your paracord. Next up, wicks. These are string, little bits of wax on them. Very, very easy to light, especially with a match or a naked flame. Not so easy to light with a ferro rod. But again, we're talking about tinder, fire starters. Once you get it started, this will hold the flame for a long, long time, as long as we keep it out of the wind, and that'll help you start a fire easily. Easy to carry. On the wrist, wear these all the time. A lot of people wear them when they come from festivals, keep on the wrist. Get a knife, you can just cut that into pieces. Obviously when you're in a situation you need to save some, you've got little bits, just start with a small bit, try and conserve your tinders. You never know how long you're going to need them for. So yeah, just like that. Lighter, safety match, not so much with the ferro rod, but hopefully you see what we'll do is we'll always be carrying at least 3 ways of lighting a fire. So that's rubber. We know that will burn for a long time, and it will burn easily under a naked flame. Next up then is tape, gaffer tape. So I always, in my fire tin, I've got a little roll of this tape, and this is brilliant because you can stick it, get your knife, and there we go. we've got a little bit of tinder there. Put that on a naked flame. Also the adhesive, the glue on the back, helps it ignite easier. Again, be careful, it's a little bit stick out. Maybe just turn it over, make a little tube out of it like so. Get that onto a naked flame and that'll help you start a fire. So next up then, tinders we can make. So this is a nice little addition to anybody's pack or van, a little bit of a starter kit. So you've got a little box there, you've got a little cheese grater on top, that goes on top there, slides along, and then we've got a box with a cheese grater on top. So we get ourselves a little bit of wood. Now this does come attached so you don't lose it, but for me that's just getting in the way all the time, so I'm going to snip that off. And what I'll do with that is I'll take that off, and I'll take that off. That's a little tiny little striker there, look, but it does the job. So when I'm not using it, that'll fit in there. I'm going to put that over there, and away I go. Job done. We've got my kit. So you've got yourself a fire starting kit there. What's that? £4 or £5. Put that in your hiking pack. Keep that in the van just in case. So how this works then is we find yourself a little bit of wood or out in the wild or wherever we are. Obviously that's a little bit of wood from home. And we get this and we just grate it like we would a cheese grater. It's the same method, just hold it nice and steady. Little bit of an angle on it. Just grate that. That's a little bit damp, but as you can see now, nice, and that's delicate. That should light straight away. So as you can see, we're all set up here then. So what I've done then is I've swapped out the blue wax because I couldn't find the candle wax. So although that will work, I've gone and got something a little bit more domesticated that everybody's probably got home, and that's just a simple candle. So we've got them, and then we've got ourselves just a little tin. This is an old Fruit Drops tin. I'm going to use that to put the wax in and melt that. So what we'll do is we'll put that directly on the flame. That should handle that. And we'll heat that up. We'll turn that on. And we'll heat that up. Safety first. Nice little clip handle. Again, cost me about £2.99. Onto the tip. Just put that on there, and we're just going to melt some of this candle wax down. That's melting straight away. And while that's melting, smoking away in the background, I'm going to get myself some of these little bits of cardboard that I pulled out some old matchboxes and just cut that up. I'm going to lay them in here. Just put a few in the bottom there like that. And just lay them in the bottom of this tin. So tin I've got, that wax is melted nice and fast. I've also made myself a nice cup of tea. Oh, that's beautiful. So just melt that wax down. Three or 4 minutes. And as you can see there, look, that wax is melted lovely. So all we're going to do is we're going to turn that off, put that out of the way, bring our container over. This is an enamel container, metal container, an old one I used to use for my jewellery. So I'm just going to pour that wax over that cardboard there. That'll sizzle away a bit. Put that in there out of the way safe because that's hot. And then we've got some nice, that shouldn't take too long to cool off. Make sure it's all soaked in the wax there. Wait for that to cool off. Pour any spare wax that hasn't soaked up into the paper back there. And there we have it. We've got ourselves some waxed covered cardboard that will ignite easier and last longer. Now we can, and the good thing about these, waterproof. So you can see they've got the wax on there. So what I'm going to do with these, I'll put those in a little plastic bag and they'll go in my tinder tin. So I've got one tin for ignition, such as a ferro rod, matches, lighter, and then I've got another tin that's got my tinders in. So that's one way of making your some tinders there with the cardboard. That's that. Perfect. Now they'll just, like I said, they'll just slip into a little plastic bag and we'll test them in a minute and we'll see how they hold a flame. So let's put them over there out of the way. That's them done. In fact, I've got a tin here that we'll put our tinders in. So fit plenty in a small tin like that. And then next up, cotton wool pads. So we've got these cotton wool pads. We're going to do exactly the same with them. These are light, very easy, but they won't burn for long. But hopefully with the wax, we'll just put one in there, a little bit of wax over the top, and that's that done. And we can do a few of these. Just lay them out on the bottom, double them up if you want to. Just the cotton pads that people often use to do the makeup. Take the makeup off, put them in there, get your wax and just pour that. They'll soak that wax up. Put that back in there anyway. Any spare wax that's not been soaked up, we'll pour that out and we'll just separate them out. Get these out while the wax is still a little bit wet, otherwise they'll be sticking to the bottom. It's time for testing, so time to go and test our tinders and see which ones are the most flammable and best for fire lighting. So here we are over at the fire pit then. I've got a few of the tinders that we've made up. We're going to test them out with different things and see how they light. First up, we've got a cotton pad. That's just a normal cotton pad there. That's immediate, that one. Straight off, no problem. And how long will that last? We'll probably say that's going to last 20-30 seconds, but it's not a very hot flame at all. Not a very hot flame. Okay then, next up, we got the wax cotton pad. So let's see if we can get this one going with the lighter and how long this one will last for. Now the wax is catching now, as you can see. That's a really slow burn. It's a bit windy, it's stayed alight, it's damp down there. So that's an absolutely fantastic demonstration there of how that little bit of wax can keep that going for longer, and it's a lot more heat. You can feel the heat from that. The likelihood of getting a fire out of that is 10-20 times more than what you would just a normal cotton wool ball. So that's that one done. Let's turn that over, put that out there. Well, there you go. That proves the point, doesn't it? And it's still lit. Let's have a look. So as you can see, even in the harsh wind, that's going to stay lit. So let's see if we can just put that one out. Okay, next up, we'll cotton wool ball. It's just the same, just normal, nothing on it. Again, simple, light straight away. Look, the wind's blew that one out now, so that's just proved the point on that one, hasn't it? Next up, we've got your fire lighter. This is all prepared. That's got paraffin and wax. So that's wood shavings, paraffin, and then waxed. So again with the lighter, let's see how this lights. It's an immediate flame. I'll put that one down there. You can hear the wax on that now spitting. But that's, I don't think that's going to go out now. I think that's going to burn for a good 5 or 10 minutes. You'll have no problem with starting a fire with that. And that is hot, you can feel that. Yep, so that's that fire lighter. We'll turn that one over. So again, that's holding the flame well. It's damp down there. I'm trying to starve it of oxygen. And it's still lit. So that proves another point. Look at that. I'm really trying to put that out now, and that's just staying alight. There's a lot of heat coming from that. I feel if I get some sticks on that now, we'd have a fire, no problem. Put that in the water, and as you can see, look, the cotton wool one is lit again. So we'll just put that in some water and we'll see what the water does to them afterwards. Anyway, next up, alcohol. This is our alcohol soaked wood shavings. Let's have a quick look at them. Now, you've got to be careful around this because I'll actually do turn one here. We'll light our wick. That's a wax-based string. Candle wick. Not lighting so easy. In fact, I'm not impressed with that. There we go. And that's very fragile, look. Very fragile with the wind. Let's try it again. You've got to be very careful, good gust of wind and that will go out. So let's see what this alcohol does. And that's immediate, look at that. That's an immediate flame. So that's the alcohol sulfur. So we know the alcohol will light up. This is the candle wick. Not very impressed with that. I think once it got going it'd be pretty easy to go out again, but if you look at the alcohol soaked wood, I think it's not producing a massive heat, but I think that will stay in long enough in order to get some wood stacked around it and create a fire there. That's that one. Let's turn that over. Now the difference in that one, that's out immediately. So that's the alcohol soaked wood, that's out immediately. Next up we've got the tape. Next up we've got the gaffer tape. That's that one. Let's try that. Yeah, that's lit. Next up we'll try the gaffer tape. Next up we'll try the gaffer tape. So the light on that. And that's lit almost immediately, look. Again, this is going to melt because of the adhesive of it. Look, you can actually see the dropping, but the flame doesn't. Let's put that down. But I feel with a bit more of that gaffer, that flame will last a long time. And the good thing about it melting is it will stick to the wood and it will help ignite the wood. So that's that. Next up, one of our own travels in my van wristbands. These are made of a silicone or rubber type material. Look at that. Let's see what that does then. No, there's a surprise. That's not lighting at all. Let's try the other side. That's lighting. It's more like an ember. But we can see it's a very, very hot ember. So I feel with the right tinder around it, that could be a very good fire starter. It gets very, very hot, but it's not rubber. It doesn't burn like rubber. And last but not least, the paracord. Oh no, we've got one more after this. So there's your paracord. I'll be very careful with that because this is nylon, so that will drip. Last but not least, we've got the paracord. I'll be very careful with this because this is nylon and that will drip. It lights, but it's not going to be very good in the wind. You get some black smoke from this, but and there you go. That's what I say, like it's dripping. But it could be. It's a good ignition source. You know, it's a good. It'll light very easy off a naked flame, but you're not going to get that lit from a ferro rod or anything else, but like I say, we're just trying to see how much longer these bits that we've added. Now let me fish this out of the water. Now look, that's been in the water for a good 10 minutes now. That's our wax cotton wool. And that's lit straight from the water. I've had it in this water tank here, look, I put it in there. It's been in there for 10 minutes. I've took it out and within seconds it's lit again. So as a starting tinder, I'd say that's probably number one. That's that. So for me, my number one would be good old paper and then good old cotton wool with wax. That'll stay alight and that'll burn for a good, at least, I'd say maybe 20 minutes. Maybe longer. And you could definitely get a fire going around that one. This wood's all a bit damp, it's just stuff that's in and around the fire pit, but yeah, that'd start a fire. Obviously you wouldn't start a fire with, you know, your tinder this big. You'd get some smaller sticks around it first. Get that going, but that is a whole new section. So today we've been concentrated on tinders and what makes a good tinder. And for me, and I think you'll agree, my number one is the wax cotton wool. Today we've been through a few different types of tinders that you can use to start a fire. Next up in the fire series, we'll go along to actually building a fire, making a fire and getting some ignition going. We've touched on a few fire lighters, a few of the obvious ones. So next I feel we've found out what fire lighters are best. Obviously the lighter, the naked flame. We'll go out into the field and maybe test a few more ignition substances. Thanks for watching. Don't forget you can go up to the website travelsinmyvan.com and get yourself a sticker for your van. You can get yourself a wristband, and you can also get yourself a bottle opener. While stocks last, they're absolutely free to get those. All you have to do is sign up to my adventure list, and once every few weeks you'll get a little letter coming through on the adventure list that will tell you what's up next, what's happening. Some features, some maybe some vouchers going and some discounts for certain things. So sign yourself up for my adventure list on travelsinmyvan.com, and I'll see you soon.